Oh, here we are. Good morning, everyone. Or should I say no one? I see we have a very low population today, so it might just be Blake and I talking. Oh, there's 2 people now. Hello. I don't know. We're just gonna talk about the Sirui 35 today. So first of all, before we start, I want to thank Blake, who you can't see in the mirror today. Can you?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, Blake in the mirror there, doing our streaming scenario. And today we're going to be talking about the Sirui 35. So if you got questions, if you got issues, if you have complaints, this is the perfect time for it. I have some things right in front of me. I have the camera here rigged with the lens. I have a bunch of diopters, and I have a wide angle adapter. Oh, I see. Now we're going. We have 10. Hello. It was a little concerning. We were in the weight room, and there was 0 people. So I was like, maybe today this is not gonna happen. But here we are. So if you got questions, shoot them. If you don't got questions, I'm just going to talk about some other things in here that we are thinking about. So I already introduced Blake onto as the responsible person for making this thing happen. And I've been getting a lot of questions about this lens on Instagram a lot. I've been posting a lot about it. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, maybe you should give that a try. It's at Anamorphic on a budget. I think I can also type this here, right? Let's see. Instagram.com/Anamorphic on budget. If I don't do this, it doesn't work. Yay. There it does. Warden Jean's asking if I tried a wide angle adapter yet. This might answer your question. This is one of the wide angle adapters I tried. This is the Century Pro Series HD Compact 0.8x wide angle adapter. And I also tried the Fujinon WCV82SC, which is now disassembled because I had to build something with it. So I have tried wide angle adapters. That's actually the subject for a video in 2 weeks from now. So today could be light spoilers on that subject. That's also the video also talks about diopters. So we're gonna take a look at these here if you guys are interested. I see Ingrid has a question here. This may not be in your area, but do you need to use a special setting with camera when filming with this type of lens? I found that to be the case with iPhone and Filmic. You are correct. The Siri has 1.33 squeeze, so the image looks a little bit compressed. It's going to look 30% thinner. And not all cameras offer support to that type of capture. Panasonic does really well. Panasonic offers lots of support for anamorphic shooting. Zcam does the same, but Sony does not. So you either have to be an imaginative person and think about how the image will look when it's de-squeezed, when you're looking at the monitor, or you have an external monitor that does the de-squeeze for you. And a lot of cheap monitors do that. I have a video about it posted 3 weeks ago. I've lost track of time. It might be 4 weeks ago. You can look it up. I show how to do it on the Small HD 702. And in the comments, there's a bunch of people talking about monitors that also work. Hello, Lucas. How's it going? You wrote a manual around the Fujinon adapter and still can't remember its name. Well, I had to record a video on that process, so I said that name so many times. By the way, I'm gonna get the focus since we're here going in the dark. Is it? Is it? Yeah, it is. So we built this and it worked. Look at me in the darkness. I was pretty shocked, man. It was so easy to build. I mean, it does sound a little offensive that I'm like, how did Lucas do this? That's not the way I mean it. And the first time I built it, I actually forgot to put the grease on. So I had to disassemble it like 17 times to finish all the steps. I shot a bunch with it this weekend using a Co-op B&H, and it was an Elmo 2. Sorry, my bad. And it was great. So yeah, this is gonna be video for members of the channel. The assembly process is gonna be video for members of the channel, and the review of this thing is gonna be a public video in September, I think. So stay tuned. Here's the focus. Mark is saying he ordered a 35, but it was a late order. Well, they're shipping pretty fast. They're already shipping the early bird orders, so it shouldn't take too long. I'm talking with them frequently, almost every other day. I send them an email and hear back. So they are moving fast. They're a fast-moving company. Michael Pisarski Tech. Hey, I love your channel. I have a 50mm version of the Siri. Are there any improvements in the 35 besides the focal length? As a matter of fact, there are. The 35 already comes with the gears for focus and aperture, which I find that make a big difference. And also, the 35mm is a native micro 4/3 mount that you can add adapters onto it. So what I'm trying to do is convince Siri that it's a good idea to do the same thing for the 50mm. And what is the next step in doing that? So that's the main improvement. The lens has about the same size. The 35 is a little bigger. Threads are the same. Minimum focus the same. Aperture is the same. So number of blades is also the same. Is there an X mount for the 35mm? There isn't. I don't know the reasons for it. I've been asking. I'm trying to push for a bunch of more different mounts on this lens. Including, what was the name of that? Canon RF, Leica L, the Fuji, bringing it back so they don't abandon a part of the people that bought the 50mm. But something I learned is that manufacturers don't get too comfortable by offering a mount that is not compatible with that sensor size. For example, the RF mount only has Canon full frame cameras, even though those cameras can shoot a crop aspect ratio, a crop of the sensor. I think the idea is if you provide a lens in RF mount, it has to cover the full frame. I don't know. EF and EFS are pretty much the same mount. There's just one letter to say one is a crop form and the other one is not. I don't know. Still working on it. If you guys want to send them messages and say, hey, listen to Tito's idea on making more mounts, that would be great. Maybe we can get more traction that way, because they already have my pitch. Run Jeans, how do you feel about adding distortion in post to get more of the bowed angles, bowed edges look? I'm a fan. I have a, did I share that? I don't know if I shared that. I made a preset for After Effects for adding distortion and being able to control it as an anamorphic lens distortion, and like that's what I use to match a bunch of spherical shots to anamorphic shots. I don't know if I released that or if I made a video about it. Good question, actually. But yes, I'm all for enhancing the image in post-production. I used to be in post. Okay, Marcus Jensen, are the 35mm. I hope the extra adapters that I opted for work on the 50 from last year. Not sure though. Yeah, so the 50 has a different mount structure. If you got the 50 in MFT, you maybe can do some hacking and like drilling holes into the original mount of the 50. So everything works, but I don't know. it might be a little sketchy. I see warnings popping up on the screen. Please remember to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, Anamorphic is the only thing that I talk about here. I've been focusing a lot of effort into the Sirui lens for this month of August. Their launch is pretty phenomenal. The lens is very impressive. So it's not hard to keep talking about it. I know some people have reservations about their squeeze factor, and that's something to be discussed. Like, I find that 1.33 is a great squeeze for a starter lens, and the price of it is also very affordable. So this is a lens aimed to bring more people into shooting anamorphic, and I think that's a very important thing. We've always been a very, very small niche of people who take things apart and put them back together and experiment a lot, and bringing new people into this is good, is a very healthy decision. It's what I've been trying to do on this channel, so I'm a fan. And I want to see them doing different squeeze factors. I want to see them doing a 2x lens or 1.8 or 1.5. There's lots of options. So there's that. Why don't they just make an M42 version and then you can adapt it to most mirrorless mounts? The problem is, if you want to make a mirrorless version, not a mirrorless version, M42 or EF version, the thing that you have to look at is called flange distance. I'm going to take some stuff apart here. Flange distance for MFT is about 19 millimeters, 19.25. So this means your sensor has to sit 19.25 millimeters from the back of the lens. I'm going to get a ruler, actually, because this is going to be, now it's a lesson. Okay. So here's my ruler. My camera's spinning freely. You face down, buddy. Don't get all that dust. So here we go. Here's our lens mount. So if you can see the ruler, this is where the sensor has to sit in comparison to the lens mount. This is for MFT. So great, everything works fine. The problem is, if you're talking about M42 or Canon EF, those mounts have a flange of like 44 millimeters, 45 millimeters. So this distance more than doubles. So this is like ish. So the sensor has to sit here and the mount has to be here. There are so many problems from doing this. For one, the glass is right here. So the glass is right at this mount that is set for mirrorless. So I would have to like shave some of the lens off. Let me put this in the front and match to where it was. So this is here. Okay. So if we were to cut stuff out of the lens, we would have to cut this lens up to here-ish. Just like straight cut. Get rid of everything that's past this point. And then add an EF mount here. So the first problem is, wow, the contrast is really messing up, huh? The first problem is we would cut halfway into the aperture ring. Don't know how to solve that. You can probably get away with like a tube that shoots behind the mount, like a PL mount, that you can have a lot of glass behind the mount itself. But if you mount that to an EF camera, an actual EF camera with a mirror, you are going to either break your mirror or break your lens or both. And that is on the remote possibility that you actually manage to shave off all of this metal and make it in a way that it fits the camera. So that's why they just can't do it. And like that requires a different image circle, and the glass has to be further away from the sensor, so you can't have a lens that's this fast, this light, and this cheap. Like the lens has to be bigger overall, and that increases the cost and increases the manufacturing time and the standards, and all of those things change. So it's basically, we're talking about a new lens. If we want a Sirui that's EF native compatible. So basically what you want is a new lens. And I don't know, have you tried mounting a mirrorless lens onto a mirrored or like an SLR camera? I would love to hear a story about when that worked, because I can't think of any. And the same goes for PL mount. Like PL mount, the flange is even longer. So PL mount would have to cut the lens here, like in the middle of this part, to add a PL mount. And having things behind the PL mount, not so bad. Getting the aperture to work from inside the camera, I think this is a pretty big challenge. So that's why it doesn't really work. I'm making a video about that for Monday, so if you want an even more technical breakdown than me pointing at rulers and an underexposed image, check that out. So that's the answer. I got carried away in there. Warden Jeans, if I posted a video in chat, would you be able to pinpoint the anamorphic lens used? Very unlikely. You can try, and we're gonna take a look and see how that goes. But I find it unlikely that I'll be able to tell what was used. I find it unlikely that anyone will be able to tell, because that's my point with anamorphaking, with adding little oval discs to spherical lenses, is you can't tell the difference. Unless you know the answer, you can tell the difference. So there's that. Send the link if you want. We'll give it a shot. Being Baz, hey, from Ireland. Hello, Ireland. I'm glad that you're here. Really interested in these lenses, but I don't have a camera that would suit it. I'd be interested in an RF version, but not sure if that's on the card. So yeah, I went over a little bit of that, getting more mounts, because the RF flange distance is not that different. It's something that would be attainable. But flanges that are way longer, like EF or PL, M42, are a no-go for this lens. Hello, Curious Films. How's it going? Alexander Romanov, thanks for your videos and reviews. Very helpful. Decided to try Anamorphic and rented a Vasen 40 and 28 for a couple days. How are you liking those? I keep getting questions of people to compare the Sirui to the Vasen. And they're just so wildly different lenses. Like, they have two things in common. They're MFT mounts, and they're anamorphic. And I guess they're made in China. But that's about it. The focal lengths are not the same. The squeeze factor is not the same. The focusing method is not the same. The form factor is not the same. And that's just going to lead to a completely different result. It's like, can you compare a skateboard to a microphone? Or like, I don't even know. It's like two completely different things. You can watch my reviews on both of them and see if you like the image of one more than you like the image of the other. But it's a very subjective comparison. I don't even know where to go from there. Like, if you have any specific thing you want me to talk about in that sense, please shoot them. But yeah. And also, that was not aimed at you, Alexander. Sorry, it's just your question triggered me into that line of thinking. So let's see here. Which mount is most versatile for anamorphic lens? Versatile is a trick question. If you were talking about production, like big production, PL is the obvious answer because it fits all Alexas, Reds, Sonys and whatnot, and it can be adapted to all of the other mirrorless mount. So PL is great, but if you have a camera that's a mirrorless camera or a DSLR, then EF or MFT. I'm becoming a big fan of the MFT form mount because it has such a short flange and it can be adapted to other things. I don't think MFT is dead. I think it's far from dead, although every 2 months there's somebody saying MFT is dead. So there's that. When Jeans, I think, was removed from the chat, but it's called Nike Freedom Prep by Logan Triplett on Vimeo. Well, if it's Nike, I'm gonna just go on a wild guess and say it's Panavision or Atlas or Hawk, because that's the easiest way if you're doing commercial. That's the standard. You're just gonna rent a production cine lens. The same lens that's used to film Hollywood is used to film commercials. So set your goals high. Go for those 10, 30 grand, or inaccessible if you're going for Panavision. All right. Being Baz, I'm currently editing a music video shot on the latest Anamorphic 1.8. It's a pretty nice image. I tried building an anamorphic projection lens setup, but this was the closest that I got that suits me. I had the 1.8 for a little bit, but it was not working as I was expecting. There was something wrong inside the lens, and I never managed to get it back to work. So I never reviewed that one. So if you want to leave the resulting music video in the comments of this video, when you're done, I would love to see the result. And I'm glad that you found something that you are enjoying. I've been shooting with adapters recently, and it's just a different everything. It's just a different everything. About the Siri, other questions that I've been getting, not only on the channel, but on Instagram and emails, is people ask about shipping because of COVID, because of delays, because of where they are in the world. If you're in Australia, can I ship it here? Can I ship this to India? Can I ship this? I don't know. Siri has a warning or like a disclaimer or something in their campaign about delays in shipping in places that they can't ship to yet. For example, I'm from Brazil and I can't ship anything to Brazil right now because Canada Post is not taking any packages to Brazil. So you got to check if you're on that list of countries that Siri is not able to ship yet. And if you do place an order, my best bet is that they're going to ship it as soon as the restrictions are lifted. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't ship anywhere else. And you might expect delays because of COVID and the services running thin. Where was I going from there? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions as if I worked for Siri. I do not work for Siri. I do not organize their campaign. I just make content. So I like the lens and I like fiddling with it and trying things out. So that's what I do. I do not work for Siri. If they want to hire me, great, but they haven't. So I've been getting a lot of attention on the Aperture inserts that we installed on the last live stream and that I demonstrated on this Monday's video. A lot of people have ordered. I've run out. I'm getting more cut this week because a lot of people got into the look. There was some vignetting on that video because I said I was a little too flexible on my clear image zoom settings. So there's a little more vignetting than I would like it to be. But the Aperture discs are a big deal. And if you're considering getting one, today is the last day of the discount. So you can go to the shop and get your oval inserts at a discount price. I'm typing the address for the shop in the chat. It's very hard to talk and write at the same time, and the discount code is called Sirui Mods. You just put that at checkout and you get 15% off all of your oval aperture needs. You can buy for all of your lenses and everything's going to be 15% off. So yeah, I'm shipping them out twice a week. There's a lot of them. Let's see here. By the way, I love the enhancing the Sirui 35mm. It was a great tip. I'm glad that you liked it. There's more enhancements. There's diopters and there's wide angle adapters. I'm gonna start experimenting with them in a little bit, just to give you guys a quick peek of what the upcoming video is about. And Warren Jeans, I've seen some footage of the Vasen 28 on the Zcam S6 and F6 with MFT mount. It looks great in Super 35. Yeah, I love their 28. They use a different focusing method from the 40. I think it's a more advanced focusing method. It's more compact. It gives better results, and it keeps the lens much lighter. So good on them. I'm a fan. Vasen's doing great. Good night to Siberia. I'm glad that you joined us. Kolto Show. And Life says, is it true that the 50mm and 35mm project different colors? In other words, the 35mm has a blue haze to it and the 50mm does not. I saw that comparison too. I don't know how much I can relate. I didn't test it out for that. But I was on set with, my sister was shooting a short film using the Siruis, the 50 and the 35. And they were constantly swapping lenses and no one mentioned a color shift. So there might be a slight warmer tone on the 35. Let me look here. Like a cooler tone, but it's something that is, you can very easily adjust it using your white balance setting. To counter it, you can counter. Oh, there you go. Just when I put it down. Sorry, Blake. I should have given you a heads up. You can just adjust on white balance a little bit, like a couple hundred Kelvin will fix that issue. Or just in post, you can match them. It's not a big deal. Clockwork. Tartarus. Do you happen to know whether you can adapt Siri to Canon EF mount? You should watch this when it's done because I talked about it for quite a while. And I have a video coming up on Monday about it. And short answer, no, you cannot. If you're a very handy metal worker and you know how to cut things out of CNC and have very accurate tools, you can give it a shot, although I don't think it'll be worth the effort. You're set to spend way more than what the lens costs in making this mod. I don't know. I would not recommend it. Thank you. Thank you for your super chat. All right. No, I don't think the shots will be inconsistent. You might have a little bit of a shift, but you can adjust. It's not, oh my god, this is a completely different rendition. No, they're still pretty similar, made by the same people, and they're consistent, overall consistent. VFX for filmmakers. Any try for speed booster for M4/3? That goes along the same line of EF to micro 4/3. Like the lens is already micro 4/3. So you can't speed boost it to anything. If you're on an MFT mount camera, you're already likely to have some crop. Unless, if you're on the Zcam, you got Super 35, and that's great. But if you're on a Panasonic, you already have a little bit of crop, and there's nothing you can really do about that, unfortunately. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit with these diopters. You guys can keep shooting questions and see what's happening. I'll keep replying. So what I want to talk about is the minimum focus of this lens, because it is not fantastic. It is about 85 centimeters. So this thing is about 40 centimeters from me, and I cannot get it in focus. I can focus on the back there, those twinkly lights, but I cannot get to here. If I push way, way back, I can. And yay, look at that, it's so neat. Yay, but it's kind of far for a 35mm. So I'm just gonna start cheating by using diopters. And diopters are auxiliary lenses. They're not filters. And what they do is they change where infinity sits for your lens. So I'm adding a +1 diopter, which means my maximum focus is now 1 meter. And so I'm going to look in the camera and see where this is landing in terms of focus. If I'm at minimum focus, now I can almost get this to be sharp. Like I can see my little minifig there punching in. Like you can see he is sharp. And you get bokeh in the background there. So this is a +1 at minimum focus. And if I rack all the way to infinity, it gets just at the lights there, which is a bit further than I expected. So this is our +1, and I'm gonna, as you go for stronger powers, you're gonna get closer and closer. I'm gonna have to take this out. So +1. If you go for a +2, your range is halved. So I'm gonna just step straight into a +4. I'm gonna skip the +2 and go for, like, if I really wanna get close to my subject, I'm gonna go for a +4. And that is uncomfortably close if you're talking about human beings. Rural child vision or chilled vision. Chill D. Will the bokeh still be visible with the 2x oval 2-stop? It should be visible. You would be at f4. So I'm gonna set the lens at f4 and we're gonna look at bokeh in a second. And we can reach our conclusions now, right now. Also, if you had a gun to your head to choose between the 2-stop and the 1-stop 2x oval for the 35, which would you choose? In this very hypothetical scenario, I would choose the 1-stop. Being Baz, nice, would a variable diopter be possible to use with it, or is that just for a projection lens? You could use a variable diopter with this, although it is overkill, because this lens is perfectly capable of focusing, and a variable diopter is a focusing assist. So you would have 2 focuses on a lens that doesn't need it. So I have a +2, and I'm gonna just see what I can see here in focus. At infinity, I can see the head of this AT&T walker. AT&T is the phone company. This AT&T walker is in focus here. I'm at infinity, and if I go to minimum focus, I have to get a little closer, and you can see the depth of field gets very, very shallow. So it's not a bad idea to stop down the lens. And for rural child or chilled, this is f4 on with a close-up. So you can see the bokeh is still pretty noticeable and nice, actually. But yeah, and I can get a lot closer to my character down here. I'm like at 20-something centimeters of my subject. So this is pretty close. I would not recommend doing this for a person. Like if you're doing this and getting this close to a person, let's try to wing this. Blake, am I in focus now? Kinda. Okay, so it would be this close. Are you uncomfortable yet? It is pretty close. It's a very, very strong close-up for a person. So I'm gonna go for a +2 and see how that relates to a face close-up.
Also, if you want to show how close we are, we can use this in turn.
Oh yeah, we can. We can do that. Yeah, that gives us a reference. That's gonna be great. So I'm gonna go for a +2, right? Yeah, I should go for a +2. And then we can more easily show how focused we are. Yes, save the close-up for flowers and bees. I'm gonna put this at 1.5, and where am I going to be in focus? I wonder. Am I in focus?
Not quite.
Am I in focus now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. So this is the distance that I am from the lens for this close-up. And it's not that uncomfortable. This is a pretty nice close-up, to be honest. And you can still see like some of the background around me. You can still get some setting. And I can push this further. Like if I focus further away, where is that going? So if I go all the way out, I think it should be around here.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a +2, and I'm like just over 50 centimeters away, and you get a lot more of the background. I think this is a pretty nice field of view. So I think this lens matches diopters way better than the 50. I'm gonna turn this around. Way better than the 50 because when you're on the 50, the field of view is so narrow, things just melt away. And in this one, you still get a sense of the background. Plus, diopters allow you to stop down your aperture, and you get a little more depth of field there. Just for fun, I'm gonna add a +10. So this is like a bubble of glass, and you're gonna see how hardcore that looks in this situation. I see Dang is here saying they like rapido and flare. We'll add a flare to this shot just because of you, man. Since I'm doing that, you should also press that super chat button and send a donation through because these videos are not easy to make. Okay, where's our flare light? +10 is crazy. Here we go. Let's not get blind. Add this flare here. +10, this is at infinity. This is what I can do. It is very, very, very close. You can also see a ton of chromatic aberration. And the whole image has like a bubble feel to it. If I go to the minifigure, I'm gonna stop it down to like way past. I'm at 4. So at 4 I have some depth of field, but it's still like it melts everything. We lose the sense of scale here. I can't even like read this whole mug. See how it's warping? It creates some pincushion distortion that it's just not there on the other strengths. I find +10 to be too extreme. Here's the flare. Flare doesn't even come to play at +10. I'm gonna pull out this filter and put a different one. I'm gonna go for a +2 and just show how the flare plays. Any chromatic aberration on the lens without diopters. Wide open, you might get a little bit on high contrast edges. With diopters, I find that the stronger the diopter, the more chromatic aberration you get at the corners. At +10, it's just insane. I would not recommend that. But +4 is still passable. Like here's our flare. I'm gonna try to get this here and control this flare. But here we go, very sci-fi. This is what if J.J. Abrams had shot Star Wars. Oh wait, he did. So flares for you. The diopters add one more flare, as you can see that vertical streak that's coming from the diopter, and it gets more and more pronounced according to the strength of the filter. Look at that, boom, so cool, man. Oh my god, I've never seen anything like this. Boom. Oh, here's the light. And you're like, oh, he's climbing. Okay. So this is a +4, this is flares, and you can see a little bit of that. Oh, the SimMod lens cap is out of stock? I did not know that. Yeah, I bet Ron is having a hard time keeping up with demand and COVID. I know he's always like shipping stuff from Canada and from the States according to where you are. So yeah, September is still pretty far. Wow. Okay, you have one of the shirts. Nice. I'm a fan. I'm glad you have one of those. Now it's time to get a mug. I'm gonna casually drink some water here. Such a good mug. If you check the merch shelf, you can get this mug too. Mircea Togerescu. Hey, I got a question. It's not related to this lens, but here it is. How hard do you think it is to convert a Canon 28mm f2.8 FD lens to simulate the anamorphic look? I'm glad you asked. A lot of people have been asking me to try an anamorphic, what is it called? FD lenses. And I've seen some people on Instagram tagging me on successful results. So the most challenging part is getting to the aperture itself. If you manage to strip the lens mount and get to the aperture safely without disassembling anything that's irreversible, it should be easy from there. That's always the biggest challenge. Then making the ovals is not that hard. And putting it back together tends to be easier than taking it apart. So you should be able to do that. I am gonna start looking into Canon FDs and starting to anamorphake them here on these live streams because they're very popular. And I've never had, like, the last FD I had must have been 7 years ago or something. So yeah, you should do it. And let me know about the results. Tag me on Instagram. I'll reshare. Hey Sunny, how's it going? Ben is, which lens would you say is better all-rounder, the 35 or the 50? The 35. I would say the 35 is more versatile. It is a little heavier and a little larger than the 50, but I find the field of view to be nicer. And since we're talking about anamorphic and going wider, everybody wants to get more field of view, The 50 does feel a little bit too tight. So the 35 is a great starter. Like a 35 is a 50 on crop, sort of. I did all the math. It's 39 millimeters horizontal field of view. And yeah, I would go for the 35. Hey, thank you. You're all chilled. You haven't told me if you're chilled or child vision. So if you want to tell me in the chat, I would love to know. I'm curious. I've been seeing a lot of comments from you. So what else? Wide angle adapters. So let's do a quick overview on this one that I have here. And gotta disassemble some stuff. And I think that will be it for today. Child. There you go. Why did I think it was chilled? Did I see 2 L's there? Or maybe it was the capital D that threw me off. So I have a step ring and I'm going to get another ring because I forgot about it. Is this here? No, it's not here. It's back here. Yeah. Here we are. Gotta get one more ring to here. Travis is saying, love your aspect ratio calculator, but what if the calculations appear to be off to the naked eye? I can't tell what's correct or how stretched is stretched. The calculations will appear to be wrong to the naked eye if you are leaning too much towards minimum focus, using a lens that has synchro focus. So like the Sirui. At minimum focus, the squeeze factor is going to be less than 1.33. So the image is going to look a little too de-squeezed. It's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you can always shoot something circular without the anamorphic block and compare both. Like that's how I usually do when I feel something's off. I find something that's a circle in the frame, I draw a perfect circle, and I try to align those things to see if the circle is really a circle. That being said, the calculator is never wrong. I've put a lot of effort into making sure the code is proper, and the calculator is to be trusted. I'm working on an upgraded version for the field of view calculator too, but that's subject for another time. Thank you, Ingrid. Ben is asking if I'm going to be getting the A7S III. I will not, unless Sony wants to send me one, or if somebody else wants to give me an A7S III. I will not be getting an A7S III. The A7S II is as far as I go with Sony. I have another camera in the works. You're going to learn about it soon. So stay tuned. What else do I say here? Jose Gomez, I've been trying to work with 2x adapters and they're great, but I love the easy way to use and get sharper image with the Sirui 50. Yes, that is my biggest appeal towards the Siri as well, is how easy this thing is to work with. I had someone ask on Facebook if I had to choose between them and why. I was shooting with the 2x adapter setup and it was like this long, no joke. And it was probably twice as heavy as this current setup. And my sister was shooting with the Siri, so I was constantly looking over and being like, damn, we should switch lenses. So yeah, the Siri is much, much easier and lighter to operate. Just like the Vasen 28mm is a miracle of engineering. So there's that. So I have a wide angle adapter here. I think we can switch into this camera now and see how vignetting is going to be, because there's going to be more vignetting. And see how much field of view we're going to gain. I'm going to actually sort of leave it a little loose. It's a challenge, it's so scary. It's not coming up. I'm so scared. Okay, I got it. So this is with the wide angle adapter. And if we take it out, one thing you can clearly see is that infinity has changed. Infinity has moved, and all of a sudden we can get focus on this subject. While here we can't. And you do get a nicer extra field of view. So I think the wide angle adapter is a good addition to this lens. I'm going to explain more in detail in an upcoming video. And it's just like, I've tried two and everybody seems to go for those two, but there are so many wide angle adapters out there. I would love if people would let me know what is working for them and what is not working. I know some single element adapters won't work, but there's lots of options that will. And there's no point for everyone to always be looking at the same ones. All right. Hey, Travis, I'm glad that was useful. Patrick, hey, salute from Brazil. On max aperture, does the image get softer? Scaringly enough, it doesn't. The image stays just as sharp wide open. In fact, most of the shooting that I do on this lens is wide open. And the lens is also sharper as you get closer to minimum focus as opposed to infinity, which is a very, very interesting thing to do for an anamorphic lens. I see that as more useful than sharpest at infinity. So there's that. All right, Life, thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you soon. Gustavo Pereira, descola os arquivos brutos com essa lente pra gente baixar e ver os detalhes dela, mano. Sure, yeah, I'll upload something and put the link in the comments for this video. For the people that don't understand Portuguese, he's asking for raw footage from this lens so they can so you can play with it and see how it holds up. So I can probably upload something that I already shot. Cruise control photography is saying focus. I'm not sure where you're going with that, but waiting for my wide angle adapter to arrive tomorrow so I can put it on the 50mm. Yeah, this wide angle is a pretty neat trick. Shooting the upcoming video, I learned some stuff about the wide angles that I didn't realize before on how they change the focus, and that was the biggest finding, how they change focus. It's a very interesting thing that I never noticed before. And it's a great addition. It's a cheat that I've started to use on other anamorphic setups. Ben, also do the Siri lenses do any of that weird warping when projector lenses do when you move them on the horizontal axis? They don't. The answer is they don't. That usually happens because of the uneven compression that you see across the frame. That's subject for an upcoming video that's only available for members. I've tried projecting through a projector lens, ta-da, surprise, and seeing how the image behaves on the edges. And that warping that you see is because as the glass gets thicker towards the edges, compression gets more intense. So when you de-squeeze the whole thing evenly by 2 times, you end up getting that variable squeeze factor on the edges, and that is what causes that effect. So Siri does not do that. That's also much more noticeable on stronger squeeze factors as opposed to the 1.33 that we have here. Okay, I'm glad that helped answer the question. Let me see if I have any other notes here. So I talked about shipping and talked the aperture inserts, talked about mounts, accessories, yep, lineup and squeeze. Yeah, so the next thing is... Oi, thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you like the content. Stay tuned, and there's gonna be more. There's always gonna be more. I actually want to make Portuguese subtitles for these videos, but there's no budget for it. So I need more people to join the channel as members, and in order that we can afford that, to hire someone to make subtitles. Sergeant Peppa's asking when the lenses will be shipped. The first batch is already being shipped. I know people that have their tracking numbers and they're waiting for delivery. Siri was much more streamlined in this Indiegogo campaign. They had a batch already ready to go for the first backers. So it just depends on what your number is in the backer list, and you can see that. You can see the estimation of shipping when you're placing your order. I've been talking to them a lot and trying to get them to do different squeeze factors and trying to figure out what's their next lens in the lineup. If it's going to be a wider lens, which would be sweet, or if it's going to be a longer lens like an 85, which would also be pretty interesting. So I've been talking to Siri a lot, and if you have any questions or concerns, I've mentioned the mount thing before. I've pitched that idea to them. They found it interesting. So if you are backing the 35, or if you just want to get in touch with them, say that you've heard of this idea and you like it. It's basically allowing us to have different mounts, more mounts, even if the lens doesn't cover the entire sensor. It's important for us to have more mounts that we can use this lens on multiple cameras. And making that push will help and convincing them that the audience, us, is interested in news and updates and upgrades. Maxime is saying, hey, I saw some of your content lately. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Stay tuned. There's lots of content still to come. I think that's it. I've covered all of my bases. I've answered all of your questions. Well, just because I said it. There's still a few minutes to go, so if you have something, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you're here, this is the perfect time to do so. And if you want to see these videos get better, you should also become a member of this channel. There's content that's exclusive to members. I'm posting my best finds on eBay just for members. I'm posting videos just for members. There's live streams only for members as well. And you get to suggest and vote videos that are coming soon. So there's a lot of choosing power there. And it helps us grow the channel a lot. And it's cheap. It's like $3. So it's a bus fare or a coffee. Buy Blake a coffee. Lucas bought him lunch last week and it was great.
Thanks, Lucas.
Okay, Ali is saying, bro, we need tips for shooting an anamorphic lens for the beginners for our first anamorphic experience. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm putting together a big course. I don't know if that's the keyword. It's a lot of content. It should be here on the channel and it's gonna be free. I'm just working with trying to fund the production costs of this whole thing, because it's a lot to write and it's a lot of research and it's a lot of work. Like Blake and I can only do so much in this many hours of the day, so we need more support. If you're in a position of offering said support, we deeply appreciate it. If you haven't liked this video and you're here, there's a big chance of that happening. I would appreciate it. It helps the video be found and it helps the channel to grow. So like it. Yeah, Lucas, I sent you a photo. It was a good sandwich. It was a good sandwich. We might go for it again today. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maxime, I really want to get a Sirui 50mm to try out anamorphic lens, but I'm concerned about the weight of anamorphic. How do they compare to, say, a Sigma 24-70 f2.8? Let me Google that. Sigma 24-70 f2.8 specs. Weight 790 grams. So Sirui 50mm anamorphic specs. In terms of size and weight, the Sirui is shorter and lighter than the Sigma 24-70. There you go. You should not be concerned. I mean, if I can do it and I have no arm strength, anyone can do it, honestly. It's not going to be the weight that's stopping you. Nathan, thank you so much for helping this trend. Oh, nice. Using a Koa 16H and a Rectalux and an Ursa G2. I'm very happy that you said that. Actually, if you want to send me an email with your testimonial about the content, I'm at a point where I can really use some testimonials to convince some people that it's a good idea to invest in this channel. Wink, wink. So if this channel has helped you get more clients or produce better videos or tell better stories, please let me know in the comments below. Share your experience. I would love to hear it. It really inspires me that people are doing great things from what I'm putting out here. So yeah, there's that. Nathan, where's the link? I'm gonna send the link and here. Yeah. Ask me. Okay, it's gonna say that you have to submit a donation. If you're sending a testimonial, you can skip that step. If you're asking me a question, please make a donation. That's gonna be great. I get dozens of questions every day. So I have to focus on what should I answer first. Maxime, not a problem at all. I would not give you a generic answer. This is not the purpose of this channel. I'm going for the specifics here. So if you're building an adapter setup, then yes, it's gonna tend to be heavier and longer. But what Siri is doing is making it all light and compact and affordable. So that's why I made this entire session about this. All right. Srijan is asking about drones and anamorphics. I have not tried it out. I think only Moment does that. It's a little bit like an anamorphic for your phone. It's a nice trick. I'm not gonna say it's a bad idea. I haven't tried it out. I would love to. If somebody wants to, I don't even know where to start that. I don't have a drone. So if someone is a drone pilot in Vancouver and they want to meet up to shoot some anamorphic, let's do it. Okay, Nathan, good thing about this heads up on John. I'm gonna message him and see what's up. I gotta stay inside of what's going on. Mark is saying my Instagram links are broken. Which ones? The ones here pointing to Instagram, or the ones there pointing to here? Or the ones for the shop? I don't know. I think this is my last question. I just want to figure out what did I break this time. I was doing so well. I didn't drop any lenses today. All right. So yeah, if you wanna, in the description and on your website, still broken? I thought I fixed it. Let's check that real quick. On the bottom of the website, the website is working. On the video description, it might be broken indeed. Oh man, it's gonna be hell to fix. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Thank you for the heads up. Okay, guys, I think this is it for today. I now have more work to do. Blake and I are going to be editing this afternoon, so I hope you like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Consider becoming a member to be a part of more great things that are to come and help this channel grow. Share the videos, like the videos. If you find someone that has questions and I cover them in this video, send them the link. That would be great. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much. I'm Jut Verheddings, and I'll see you on Monday.
Thanks again, Lucas.
We did it.